I wanted to know, do you guys remember the first time you met Julia and what feelings came over you guys when you first met her?
Julia was 3 when we met her, and it was instant love. We had been in the program, looking through private adoption, different aspects of that, and the opportunity came up. But we had always said, well, we'll take multiple children. They said, well, we have siblings, and we're like, okay. This was right before Christmas, and they came to our home right after Christmas.
So what about you? I know you were 3 years old. I don't know if you really knew what was going on.
I had been through a lot of heartbreak at that time. Like they said, I had gone through a couple different foster families, and it was always just, for me, it was internally, I was just hurting, and I was angry. I didn't quite understand.
How old were you when the addiction started?
I started experimenting when I was 14, high school age, but it didn't become a full-blown addiction until 5-6 years ago, maybe.
Dad, how was that for you?
You know, knowing that anger has been with her since the start, and this is just a symptom, and all of a sudden you play with it and you're hooked.
Yeah.
And no one starts out saying, I'm going to be at a point where
Right.
I have to have this to
Right.
exist.
And I believe you guys had a moment of tough love and where you had to ask Julia to leave. Do you remember that moment and why you guys finally made that decision?
You're not going to find bottom till you stop digging.
Wow.
And it was the most miserable moment of my life.
I had to see it for myself, because at that point it was just, it was everybody else's fault. It wasn't my fault. It took the day actually coming here for me to realize that it wasn't just for my daughter, but it was for me too.
You realize that this is a journey that's her own, and we can't help too much. She has to figure out why and how to deal with the anger, and we just kept trying to support her through it.
Yeah.
What was that moment that you decided, hey, enough's enough? I need to turn this around.
It was the day I came here. I needed help. I signed over Emma to my parents, and we drove here. When I got here, I just felt like a peace. And I kept reminding myself throughout the program, remember how desperate you were, like in that moment, and that's what it helps me a lot. And it still helps me today in my day-to-day life. He's changed all of our lives, you know.
Mom, Dad, how was that for you guys while she was in Teen Challenge?
First 30 days, we could see a difference. Just the way she carried herself, the way she held her head high. God had touched this woman and made her a godly woman.
It took God in her heart, Christ in her heart, and then it just, peace.
Julia, we know that Teen Challenge is a faith-based recovery program. With that, what would you say was maybe one of the biggest things that God did in you or revealed to you while you were at Teen Challenge?
I felt the chains break off of me. And it wasn't a little while after, and I realized what it was, and it was those chains of that I wasn't lovable, or that I wasn't worthy, or I wasn't enough. And those chains broke off, and He's the only way you can have that peace and that joy, and He offers so much, and you just have to surrender it over to Him.
What would you guys say to maybe a parent or parents who might watch this and have a child that is maybe wayward and who's out in addiction and has maybe lost hope?
There's no such thing as lost hope. Christ does not give us lost hope. There's always hope. Hope in Christ knows no bounds. It has no restraints. He breathed life into the world. He can breathe life into a situation.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as lost hope.